One thing that sets Invincible apart from other television shows is how much it chooses to focus on its side characters. While Mark is definitely the show's main star, the supporting cast is given quite a bit of screen time and development as well. Eve got her own special episode, Alan the Alien got half an episode, and they both got their own custom title cards. Characters like Amber, Cecil, Debbie, Donald, Oliver, and Rudy also get the spotlight from time to time, and a lot more. But today I want to focus on Rex-Splode, whom I believe to be Invincible's single best written character. This goes without saying, but this video contains spoilers for the entire Invincible television show, and now that you've been warned, let's get right into it. Rex is a character that has grown tremendously throughout the series, but there are a few things that remain consistent throughout all 3 seasons. He's a wisecracking one-liner machine that likes to run his mouth given any opportunity, and he's generally arrogant, disrespectful, and abrasive to everyone around him, even those closest to him. And his backstory is that his parents sold him to the government at a young age, where they experimented on him and gave him his powers, which allow him to charge inanimate objects, causing them to explode, hence his superhero moniker. And this is an interesting power because unlike other superpowers, such as super strength, flight, and matter manipulation, the power is seemingly only useful in combat. It's great for throwing explosives at a bad guy, but not much at saving innocents, and we see that a lot in Season 1. When we first meet Rex, it's as a member of the Teen Team, a squad of 3 teenage superheroes and Robot. And we see them in action against the first Flaxen invasion, during which Robot instructs Rex to save some civilians, which Rex does so, but begrudgingly. Shortly after, he has an exchange with Eve, where she says what matters most is that they're buying time for civilian evacuation, but Rex responds that him staying alive is more important. And this is a seemingly throwaway line, but it illustrates Rex's arc for the first season. Despite being a superpowered individual, he doesn't really know what it means to be a hero. In the very first scene of the show, we meet the Guardians of the Globe, Earth's strongest superhero team, and we see them in action. And the very first thing they're focused on doing isn't trying to beat the Maulers. Instead, we see them immediately trying to get civilians out of the line of fire and minimizing collateral damage. Immortal starts throwing hands with the Maulers as a distraction, but then we see War Woman getting soldiers out of a tank, Green Ghost keeping a group of children intangible and saving them from falling debris, Red Rush evacuating even more citizens, and Darkwing prioritizing saving a woman that one of the Maulers threw into the sky over fighting him. They do this while coordinating with each other, communicating, and working as a team. Only once the perimeter has been cleared do we see the Guardians start to engage the Maulers. And that's why they're called the Guardians of the Globe. Their main priority is to defend and protect the innocent, and not necessarily to defeat the bad guys. And then they're slaughtered, with Rex stepping up to be one of their replacements. But in Season 1, Episode 4, during his first time inside Guardians HQ, he's the one that calls attention to a bloodstain on a pillar. Cecil explains that he left it there as a reminder to the team that they still don't understand what it means to be a Guardian of the Globe, and while they have that title in name, they still have yet to prove themselves as worthy successors. Once they have, only then are they allowed to wipe it away. And we see just how unprepared Rex and the rest of the new Guardians are for the role in the following episode. After the Guardians take care of the Lizard League off screen, Rex is quick to celebrate upon return to headquarters, claiming victory. However, Black Samson is quick to point out that despite defeating the Lizard League, they still lost because innocent lives were taken. He pulls up a hologram and shows Rex and Monster Girl focusing on winning their duels rather than trying to stop a bus full of children, preventing it from crashing. Rex claims that there was nothing he could have done, showing that he's not very creative with his powers outside of combat situations. And Samson retorts, saying that he could have used smaller explosions to blow up the bus tires or turn the road into gravel. Doing both or even either would slow the bus down enough to the point where Monster Girl could stop its momentum without harming the passengers. In this scene, Samson is right. Rex could have done more to save lives if he had prioritized doing so instead of winning a fight. And this means a lot coming from Black Samson, a former Guardian himself, since he knows that protecting the innocent should be priority number 1, and that the Guardians should be working together as a team. And we'll talk more about that later, so stick around for that. But Rex just shuts him out and asserts that he saved the day, showing a lack of understanding of what it really means to be a Guardian. But later on in the episode, Rex and the other Guardians redeem themselves by saving Black Samson, Monster Girl, and Mark from Machine Head's goons. While this is a team effort, and not necessarily Rex's choice, it does show that Rex has the potential to be a good Guardian if he tries. And his arc for the season culminates in the final episode, where, during the duel between Mark and Omni-Man, Black Samson tells the Guardians to gear up and head out to save lives and minimize the damage caused by the two fighting Viltrumites, and Rex follows without hesitation. But unfortunately, we don't actually get to see them saving any lives because the rest of the scene plays out off screen. The next time we see the Guardians, they're tired from all of their work. They collapse on the floor, but Rex stands up and wipes away the bloodstain that Cecil left earlier in the season, with the rest of the team standing behind him. Finally understanding that to be a Guardian, your job isn't to win the fight, but to save lives and protect the innocent. But it is important to highlight that up until this point, we have never seen Rex prioritize saving people's lives. And we'll get to why it's so important later on. Now, Rex understands what it means to be a hero, a guardian of the globe, but his arc isn't fully complete yet, as he'll have to know what it means to be part of a team. Which leads us to one of Rex's defining moments in Season 1, where he starts out dating Adam Eve only to cheat on her with Duplicate. He justifies this to Kate by telling her that Eve left her for Mark, which simply isn't true. During Season 1, this was seen as a dick move and nothing more, but over the course of the series, we learned that Rex's birth parents gave him away to the government. This probably gave Rex abandonment issues, which is why he's so abrasive and disrespectful to everyone around him. His demeanor is a wall, naturally pushing people away because he's afraid that if people get too close, they'll just abandon him, like his parents did. It's also likely why he's so suspicious of Mark and Eve's friendship early on, and why he uses it as an excuse to cheat. Because he's insecure about Mark, and that Eve is going to abandon him for him. So he takes matters into his own hands and cheats on her. So if they break up, which ironically to Rex they do because of his infidelity, he would have someone to fall back on. This is not only incredibly disrespectful to Eve, but to Kate as well. We're led to believe that the only reason Kate chose to have sex with Rex is because she thought he and Eve had already broken up. Rex made Kate his second option, a fallback, which is incredibly cruel because Kate has feelings too. After cheating on Eve, he reveals that he has no idea why he keeps messing up his interpersonal relationships, but we, the viewers, see it clear as day. Rex is a character with a lot of internal issues and unresolved trauma, and he acts out because he just doesn't know what to do. Rex is disrespectful, even to those closest to him, and we also see that he doesn't trust easily either. During the Guardians of the Globe tryouts, after Monster Girl pummels Rex, she tries to help him up, but Rex refuses her, and then berates Invincible for helping him. And while he's a fully fledged Guardian by the time Season 2 rolls around, we see that Rex is still a dick. In the first episode of this season, he makes fun of both of his new team members, the Immortal and Bulletproof. He has somewhat improved though, as he comforts Invincible when he's distraught over the amount of people that died on his watch, but he relapses immediately the next chance he gets. In the following episode, he suggests intimacy with Kate, and then gets mad at her for cheating on him with the Immortal, despite never clarifying his relationship with the girl. When he talks about it with Kate, she tells him that she and the Immortal share a connection due to their multiple experiences with death. Rex then lashes out at her, and she tells him that the reason she could never connect with him is that he's just an asshole. And this is what initially sparks Rex's redemption arc, where he finally gets the idea that maybe he shouldn't act so disrespectfully towards his teammates, and that maybe he should value them more. And we see this as when Cecil shares that they need a team for the Mars mission, he's the one that reaches out to Adam Eve and convinces her to join, as they could use her help. This is a pretty big step in Rex's character development, as even he states that asking for help is out of character for him. But with Invincible, Adam, Eve, the Immortal, and the rest of the Guardians in space, there's a lot less people left to stop a much more lethal Lizard League when they invade a US military base. Rex, Ray, and Kate fight tooth and nail against the reptilian foes, but they're outmatched as the Lizard League seemingly stopped holding back. Rex witnesses the apparent deaths of both of his fellow Guardians and nearly dies himself, surviving only through luck and sheer force of will. And this is the turning point for Rex's character. Having such a close brush with death and losing his team members seemingly made him realize that he should value the people around him and that maybe he can treat them better. And he starts doing so almost immediately. Mark goes to him not as Invincible like how he normally would, but as Mark Grayson, and Rex hears out his personal problems. And this is the start of a budding romance between Mark and Rex. In the next episode, we see Rex facing off against Octobos, but when Invincible arrives to lend a hand, he doesn't reject his offer of help like he would have in Season 1. However, he still asks Mark to leave the big guy to him and for Mark to focus on dealing with the weaker ones, because at this point, Rex needs a win. His ego has been shattered, his arm replaced with a prosthetic. He just saw his longtime teammate in Duplicate murdered before his eyes while his other teammate is still in critical care. And he's not afraid to admit this, at least not to Mark. With his new arm, Rex is able to defeat Octobos. And Rex's new arm isn't just a prosthetic. It's a physical manifestation of the idea that part of him has changed for the better. And he's literally better off for it, as we see that it's more powerful than anything he's used in the past. Then he has a conversation with Mark after, offering him a favor. And he doesn't insult Mark or anything like that, showing that he's a changed man, which is a start. After all, he's had interpersonal relationship issues with everybody he's been on a team with. Eve, Kate, Monster Girl, Rudy, Bulletproof, Samson, Shapesmith, and especially the Immortal. But there's one person who he's never had a problem with, at least not on screen, and that's Shrinking Ray. Which leads us perfectly to Rex's arc in Season 3. By this point, we see how far Rex has gone as a character. He's a proven guardian of the globe and has forged a brotherly bond with Invincible. In fact, Rex even trusts Mark enough to tell him to romantically pursue Eve, his own ex-girlfriend. He helps Invincible during the theft of the Declaration of Independence, and in the very next episode, when Mark fights the Reanimen in Guardians HQ, Rex is the first one to stand by his side. At this point in the story, Rex has developed a ton from Season 1, going from being a bit of an anti-hero to a fully fledged good guy. But there's one aspect that he hasn't redeemed himself in: his love life. See, he still cheated on Eve and took Kate for granted. He doesn't know how to treat a woman properly. And that's probably because he just doesn't have a personal life. In Season 1, it's revealed that he never went to high school. We also rarely ever see him out of his suit, and when he isn't wearing it, it's usually because he's naked. We don't see Rex-Splode the same way we see Mark Grayson and Samantha Eve Wilkins. And that's because Rex-Splode is his only real persona. He doesn't know a life that isn't being a superhero, and neither does he want one. So it makes sense that he's only ever romantically interested in his female team members, like Eve, Kate, and now Ray. Shrinking Ray is a character that didn't get a ton of screen time before Season 3, but she makes a full recovery after the events with the Lizard League, and likely due to their shared trauma, gets much closer to her explosive teammate. And their chemistry is kind of hinted at in Season 2, as the first thing that Rex asks Mark when he comes to visit him is, "How's Ray?" And rather interestingly, Rex extends himself for Ray in a way that he never really did with Eve and Kate. Over the course of Season 3, we learn that Ray has a longing for a normal life away from superheroing, something that Rex doesn't share with her, but respects and tries to understand anyway. When Ray wants to cook dinner after leaving the Guardians of the Globe, he offers to help pick out dairy. Then in the next episode, Rex cooks Ray a special dinner, something he's never wanted to do before. And he confides in Ray. He trusts her with his backstory, and even his last name, which we've never seen him give to anybody on screen. This is more than Rex has ever done for his former romantic interests like Eve and Kate. Seemingly, he's learned to be a better man, all for Ray. And most importantly, he understands that he can't stop Ray from living the life of a superhero. But he's also grown enough as a character to know that that doesn't mean she's leaving him behind. And they try to make it work together. And this is Rex's arc for the season. In Season 1, he learned what it means to really be a hero. In Season 2, he learned what it means to be a good team member and a good friend. And now in Season 3, his arc is learning to love. Properly and wholeheartedly. Which brings us to the Invincible War. The first time we see Rex on screen in the episode, he's helping Ray move into her new apartment. He shows concern for Ray's well-being, wonder if the area is safe, and when a fight breaks out, he also tells Ray to stay put and not put her life on the line after just getting it back, respecting her decision. Then he runs off and enthusiastically joins the fight. But the next time we see Rex, it's a terrifying scene. The Not Quite Teen team is being pushed to the ropes by Goggles Mark. Amanda is out of commission, Rudy is outmatched, and Bulletproof is barely holding on. Rex is still able to fight, but he looks worse for wear, and he understands that everyone's best chance for survival would be for Bulletproof, who is capable of flight, to bring the others to safety. But somebody has to stay behind and keep Goggles Mark distracted. To Rudy's dismay, Rex offers to stay behind, telling them that he has a plan when he really doesn't. Doing this saves the lives of his teammates, Monster Girl, Rudy, and Bulletproof. And let's call attention to who these people are to Rex. They're his teammates, but they've all had their fair share of negative interactions with him. When Rex and Monster Girl first meet in Season 1, he makes fun of her appearance, not knowing the extent of her powers, and she proceeds to brawl with him, knocking his teeth out, which he references multiple times throughout the series. When Rex first meets Rudy, the person behind the robot suit, Rex immediately starts lashing out at him, being furious and confused for stealing his DNA and taking his form as a child. And when Rex first meets Bulletproof, his first instinct is to immediately make fun of his obvious name. And over the course of the series, we've seen him become a proper team member and a friend. This shows how his arc from Season 2 is complete and that he has learned to value his relationship with others, seemingly over himself, something he never would have done in Season 1. So Bulletproof carries Amanda and Rudy away, but before he can do so, Rex tells them to apologize to Ray for him. This is a joke, which is in character for him, even when he's at death's door, but what he really means behind his words is that he wants Ray to know that he's thinking of her. This is a sign that he truly loves Ray. He opened up about his tragic past, he extended himself when she showed she wanted things, and she helped her leave the superhero life seemingly without any benefit to himself. Rex already had a close call with death in Season 2, and we know that when he's about to die, his whole life flashes before his eyes, and in this moment, of all the things he chooses to focus on, it's Ray. And he wants her to know that. This completes his arc from Season 3 and becoming a better man. He's no longer thinking of protecting himself from getting hurt like he was with Eve, nor of personal pleasure like he was with Kate. For the first time, he's thinking about someone he loves, and he wants her to know it. And in the last part of his fight against Goggles Mark, he pulls out all the stops. He uses everything at his disposal. His coins, stones, his own goggles, even the floor of the Teen Team base, but none of that's enough, and he's simply outmatched. Until he pulls out his final trump card. And let's remember what Rex learned in Season 1. Being a hero doesn't always mean killing the bad guy, but saving lives. And by choosing to stay behind, this is the first time that we get to see him willingly prioritize the lives of others over his own. By sacrificing himself to defeat Goggles Mark and save his friends, Rex completes his arc from Season 1. And we finally see him prioritize saving other people. His selfless act of using his own skeleton as a last-ditch weapon saved lives and stopped the bad guy, doing everything he could for the greater good. Rex goes out with a bang, but he does it knowing that he saved his friends, knowing he was worthy of love, and knowing what it means to truly be a hero, and that he is one. And that's why Rex's entire character arc is nothing short of Invincible's best. And if you liked the video, leave a like and let me know in the comments below, and subscribe if you haven't already. And if you want more Invincible content, be sure to check out my video on how the show writes women. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.